Eli 5 kertaa hiihdetään 2,5 kilometrin lenkki. Eiliseltä vaan
ammuttaja 4 kappaletta vuorotellaan siten, että ensin makuammuta, sitten pystyy kolmas ammuta jälleen makulta ja viimeinen ammuta pystystää. Ja makupaikat ovat
minkä sopivaksi näkee, kun tulee tuonne kentälle. Sakkorinkiä ei ole tänään käsissä, oli valtaus, ilmeisesti normaali kilpailuksi 245 minuutin aikatahtova hiihtojan päälle.
Numero on 5 ja numero on 260.
93.
Ja 112.
Ei yhtään heivaa.
Onko sekin kuntari?
52. Ja 52 seiskalla. Ja 743. Ja numero 58 on seiskalla. Ja 831.
Thanks. Thank you.
60 seiskalla.
Thank you.
Kodin paikkaa. Tämän jälkeen sitten ruotsalainen Hanna-Karin Heidenberg, numero 7. Heidenberg ei noissa joukkueessa ollut mukana viikonloppuna ja hänelle ensimmäinen startti
näissä kisoissa. Vielä reilu 5 minuuttia tuota starttiin. Voidaan vetää täältä Pekovia nimiä numero 4
Welcome back to Kontiolahti as you join us in East Finland's Karelia region as the individual events continue. Norwegian clean sweep on the podium for the men's short individual yesterday. Johannes Tingers Bo had to settle for second as Ondrej Stronsheim took the first individual victory of the season. We have had a perfect winter day here in Kontiolahti for this reduced 12.5 kilometre women's short individual, and alongside myself Ellen Ellard is Chad Samula, former Team USA biathlete. And Chad, yesterday was also the first look at the IBU and their new start group rules, where the top 15 athletes starting this race will be wearing bibs 46 to 75 as we take a quick look at the course. And keep your eyes on the elevation as well. The athletes will have to go up that steep slope that you've just seen there, the wall, 5 times today. And Chad, just your thoughts on yesterday and the added excitement that the new start groups brought.
I like the way the event played out for those of us following it, both the media and fans at home. I think the athletes were a little bit adverse to the as you see the conditions, 7 degrees Celsius. It's quite a bit colder than it's been the whole week, but just drawing attention to the conditions here. But I think the start order is actually really good. It smoothed out. I think it smoothed out the broadcast. I think it made it much more easy to comprehend how the race was shaped. And I think that's good for the sport. I think anytime you can understand what's going on is a good thing for the viewer and for us as commentators and for the sport in general.
So a quick look through the top of the order, and it is Suvi Minkkinen, who was 8th in the individual in Oberhof 2 seasons ago. Was part of both the relay and single mixed relay teams at the weekend. 8th in the relay, 11th in the single mixed. which has been and was seen as quite a good result for Finland. Very good prone shooter, and not missed a prone shot in 2 races here this week. And you can see there, as we go a little bit further down the order, that's when we will start to see more of the top-ranked athletes starting their quest today.
Yeah, you'll see kind of the second tier, the 16 through 30 ranked from last season. They'll be intermittently interspersed between bib 17 and 40, and then from 41 all the way up until until Jeanmonnot of France, bib 60. Those are going to be the big names of the sport, and then the second tier athletes after that will finish out the start order all the way up to bib 104. So 104 starters on the start order. You're going to see the bulk of the big contenders in the middle of the start group.
Yeah, so just an update on that. We were due to have 104 starters. By the looks of things, we have got 2 DNSs, Freed of the USA being one of them. She was due to wear bib 104, but still 102 starters expected for this short individual. The first individual event for the women in this new BMW IBU World Cup season.
Yeah, late pull like that is probably something, usually not something massive, as you see Jelenko from Moldova, the other DNS besides Margie Freed, but both of them may be coming down with the sniffles or something that they don't want to exacerbate and turn into a bigger health problem for themselves. Because the big thing about these long winters and long dark winters, especially this dark start in these evening starts in Finland, is it starts to wear on you. You get stressed out, and all of a sudden your health is in the tank, and you really have a hard time. These endurance athletes have to keep their health as the ultimate priority.
Hannes Tingesbø finishing second yesterday. It's something that he's spoken about in the build-up to this season. He wants to make sure he's in the best form for the World Championship, so he's already looking forward to February and making sure that he doesn't overexert himself before then, and I'm sure that's something that plenty of the athletes, with this being such a big season as we move towards next season, the Olympics starting to raise their heads above the horizon. Is this the other American athlete? And the only
Irwin. Irwin will start in bib number 13 for the United States. She finished the season last year ranked 32nd overall, so a good season for her, a step forward. Personal best for her is a 7th, has not been on a podium yet for the United States. She's been close, but that 7th came in the Olympics, and sort of a phenomenal individual race. It was this race that she did that, finished 7th in in Beijing. So kind of a big story in the United States was how she was really unheralded and made herself in the top 10. And it's the best finish by an American at the Olympic Games to date.
So last year, it was such an exciting finish to that race. Just a 1/10 of a second between the top 2, and well, I guess one of the main talking points as we see Suvi Minkkinen make her way out to kick off this first individual race of the season for the women is Lisa Vitozzi and her absence, Chad. And obviously with so few individual events over the course of a season, this was a really big opportunity for someone to step up and leave their mark on the overall and individual standings.
Absolutely. Lisa Vitozzi not showing up the World Cup overall winner. She was not terribly dominant. She had a very tight race with Ingrid Lander-Tannervold to the end in Oslo at the end of the season last year, but it is a bit of a shocker to lose her, and it looks like we're going to lose her for most of period 1. At least that's the initial diagnosis. It is an injury she's aware of. They know what the timeline is for her to fix it, so that's a good sign. But it does really put her at a disadvantage to try to repeat as overall World Cup victor. Just too many points given out in period 1 to miss all of it and then be a factor.
So the athletes in the early order making their way out onto the course. 4 visits to the range, prone shooting, prone standing. Avakumova of Korea.
116 starts for her. Never been on the podium though. Avakumova, obviously some Slavic descent or Russian descent. Competing for Korea, she and her significant other Lapshin, both competing for Korea since just before the Pyeongchang Olympics in 2018. But she does have a 5th place as a career best, so she's been high on the ranking order at the end of the day.
And here's someone that we're getting very excited about, Ella Halvorsen. This her 5th World Cup start, certainly one to watch in the early order. top the podium with Sebastian Samuelsson in the single mixed. No top 30 finishes. This is just her third individual event, her best 33rd in the individual event in Östersund 2 seasons ago now.
But, you know, having an experience like she did in the single mixed relay where she stood on top of the podium, that really changes your outlook of yourself as an athlete, and that can really change what you expect of yourself. So it'd be interesting to see how Ella Halvarsson kind of reacts off of that win with her teammate Sebastian Samuelsson in the single mixed relay on day one.
And this part of the race and the individual competition is a lonely road for those who are starting early in the order. It'll be a while until they're joined on the course. And Suvi Minkkinen, she's able to hear the roar of the coach from the side of the course there. Maya Clautens, 10th in the mixed relay. Still just 22 years old and only 23 World Cup starts. Did have a prone accuracy up to 91% season before last.
Looks like we're having some trouble with the 1.3 kilometer time check coming up on the screen, and we're not seeing it on our CIS, so we apologize for that, and hopefully that'll get rectified, and we'll move forward with good information from the 1.3 kilometer mark.
Joanna Jackiela, the colours of Poland, launching her way out onto the course.
A 25-year-old, top finish of 11th. That happened in Östersund at the end in this discipline last season. So it's this time last year, she had a good one. Maybe cracking the top 10 for the first time for Jackiela of Poland.
Ella Halvarsson, and this is usually where we would get the time check.
And she looks spectacular. Like, her technique looks really good. Very, very strong pushes, very sharp. And when I'm watching for good skiing and good fitness, what I'm really looking at is how their pole plant hits the ground and how their leg comes off the end of the kick. If it's snappy and dynamic, they'll be generating a lot of speed. And the young Swede looked very good in that pass.
Aita Gaspalan, the Swiss athlete, wearing bib number 9. 4 individual top 10s in her career. She's 9th in this event in Pogluca in the 2019-2020 season. Huge 238 World Cup starts.
Yeah, the Gasparin sisters really, the three of them, one of them is retired, but the eldest have retired, but they made up three quarters of the relay for many years for the Swiss team.
Joanna Poop, down the other end of the spectrum in terms of World Cup starts. This is just her 11th. She was 18th in the individual event in Oslo towards the end of last season, and finished last season actually really strongly. 23rd in the mass starts in Oslo as well, and then 28th in the sprint in Canmore.
Yeah, good season for her. Puff just getting started, really, cracking into the German team. Here's a veteran of the Canadian team now, bib number 11. This is Emma Lunder. Has just missed the podium for a career best. She was 4th as a high watermark for her at this venue in the sprint back in 2023 season opener.
Yeah, she had a really good season in 22-23. 2 more flower ceremonies in addition to that sprint, but no individual podiums. 33-year-old. Well, here's someone who's impressed quite a lot already. Dorothe Verle, wearing bib number 12, and well, certainly the one to watch in the top 20. The second fastest time, just 0.4 behind the winner of the prize money, and leg 2 of the relay as Italy finished 4th. That was on Sunday.
Yeah, Vera really impressed me with her performance on Sunday in that relay. She had good fitness and comes into this with the most wins in this discipline. She's got 6 wins in individual competitions over her career.
Yeah, no win in this event since 22-23 though. Could that change today?
Peter Irwin for the United States, the top American athlete from last year's season, heading out on course and starting her first individual competition of the year. She, again, 7th at the Olympics in this event. She loves this discipline. I talked to her earlier this week, and Irwin is all about consistency. She knows that if she can make her top performance more consistent, that she'll be near the top of the order.
Yeah, she's improved her shooting last season as well. another youngster, Nino Letnich. 6th in the single mixed. Never finished inside the top 30 in an individual competition.
So sounds like we got our first shooter on the range.
Makushina. Well, Ukraine have had some good days to start this new World Cup season, including Vitaly Manzin taking 4th place yesterday.
Yeah, Makushina, big 15 here. She's 29 years of age. She's a really big meet performer. If you look at her top finishes, she's never been on the podium, but her 4 top best finishes, or 4 of her 5 top best finishes, are all World Championship events.
Well, we'll endeavour to bring you the graphics as soon as we can. I can confirm that Ella Halvorsen is the quickest going into shooting. 14 seconds up on Maja Klurtens, and Suvi Minkkinen 19 seconds down on Ella Halvorsen. Still very early stages. Kapustova.
Our next starter, a bit of a sensation. Still waiting to make her mark fully on board. Number 18, Anna Maria Lampic. Switched over after winning the World Cup overall sprint title in cross country. Switched to biathlon. It sent a lot of people into a tailspin in cross country, but she has done well. No World Cup podiums yet, but twice in the top 5.
Yeah, an incredibly quick skier. Only 58% accuracy standing though. And all her top 10 performances have come in sprint events. 2 5th place finishes in the 22-23 season. Well, she's spoken a lot, Chad, about the fact that she likes being a quick skier. That's what she prefers. She says she's happy to forego some of the shooting accuracy to be as quick as she is.
Yeah, I think that from my perspective as a biathlon athlete and coach, that at some point she has to flip that switch in her mind, or she may never get to the top level of the sport. It's fun to ski fast against people you know you can ski against, but it is still biathlon. You need to hit the targets to actually have success, some real success. From 19 out on course now, that's the Chinese athlete, Jeanmonnot Tang.
Anna Gandler of Austria, 5th in the relay. And 4 flower ceremonies last season, ending the season really well, with a 5th place in the mass start and 6th in the pursuit and the sprint in Canmore and Soldier Hollow.
Partner Emilien Jacquelin skis for the French team, so they are a World Cup duo, but they're both very prolific on Instagram. Great presence on social media, both of those athletes, Jacquelin and Gantler.
Okovska, just her 4th World Cup start as we're into the range with Marlon Kirkaida.
Kirkaida came into the range 17 seconds out of the fastest time. Let's take a look at her shooting here. Nice solid shot in the middle. Oh, miss at 12 o'clock, just outside. That's a little bit high too, so her zero may be just a little bit centered on the top of the prone ring, and all of those shots high. Probably going to get a set adjustment down a click or two from her coaches out on the course.
So Ella Halvorsen still the quickest coming out of shooting. Reminder, it's a 45-second penalty for any misses.
And looking at the time from shooting 1, Ella Halvorsen has a huge lead of 19 seconds so far. Still early in the going, but her skiing looked really good at the time check, even though we didn't have the time to compare to anyone. But now after shooting 1, she's looking very strong.
Yeah, certainly the one to keep an eye on at the moment.
Baiva Vendika taking out on the course for Latvia, veteran of the Latvian team. 211th start today. Been on the World Cup for the better part of a decade.
Yeah, a bit of a ever-present one who enjoys being involved in a lot of the social media stuff that Biathlon World do, as well as his Glotien. of Germany. 4th in the World Champs in Novo Mesto. 24 World Cup starts. And 4 top 15 finishes last season. The World Junior Champion in this discipline as well, Chad. So certainly one to watch.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that she's a star of the future. I was looking for that next Doro Veer. On the opposite end of her career now is Dorothea Veer coming in to shoot. Let's see where she stacks up. She's 13.6 seconds down on Ella Halverson. So Ella Halverson is no flash in the pan. We were waiting to see whether that first place finish in the single mixed relay was an anomaly. Doesn't look like it right now, Ellen, as she has actually got Dorothea Veer by a pretty good margin coming in to shoot in this first stage.
And there's the miss.
Cadence looked pretty solid, but just a little flinch on that 4th shot. Going to pay for it, but remember Ritla Sjostad Christensen came back from 2 misses in the first stage, 1 miss for Doro. If she can keep it together, her skiing looks solid enough against the rest of the field. She's only a minute back, so about 15 seconds off the fastest ski time. That 45-second penalty adds up to a minute. Yep,
she's come out in 8th, just behind Malunda. Leno Letmich.
Ella Halverson, 19.5 seconds. I'm just going to put that in perspective. That is a pretty big lead. Even though it's early in the field, it's a pretty big lead, and that's the kind of lead that maybe somebody from the seeded group would set down. It tells you that Ella Halverson is perhaps skiing at the level of the athletes later start order, as she's really got Repnich with no chance of reaching her time already, even if she's clean.
3 for 3, 4 for 4 for Repnich. 5 for 5, she goes clean.
So the young Halverson dodging all the early chargers. Dieter Irwin following her by 44 seconds back. Dorothea Veer with the penalty back, a minute back. There's really still nobody giving the young Swede any kind of challenge through the first 13 or through the first 14 start numbers.
Makarova, another athlete who's yet to dip into the top 30.
Here's Minkinen now for the second shooting stage. She was clean from the first stage, but trails, after shooting 1, trailed Halverson by 22.7 seconds out on the course. She's losing time to the young Swede. Is down to 38.86 seconds at the 4.4 kilometer mark. Minkinen coming in now. She's got the Swede behind her, chasing her. So Minkinen is the fastest to this point, ski-wise. But fast to Finn, 0-0, 2-0 starting for the Finn. The Finnish crowd likes it.
Well, let's see where she comes out. That will be the mark that Ella Halverson will be chasing. Anna-Maria Lampic is gone quickest into shooting 1. Here she is.
But let's put this into perspective. She's only 0.4 of a second faster than Ella Halverson.
And there's the miss. So, and there's a second miss for Lampic. Here's Ella Halverson. She's missed with her first shot. Recovering well, though.
I am absolutely just watching the pictures, not looking at the times, nothing else. Ella Halverson is racing like a top-end world-class biathlete, and we talked about it. Just that first podium finish, that first step on the podium, it's clearly elevated her sights on what she can achieve. The miss is going to hurt her, but still, she's way out front of the rest of the field. I think that she's going to absorb that miss pretty well, at least through the first half, first 20 to 30 bibs. She's 13.3 seconds off the time of Halverson. Lampic with those 2 misses drops way down into 16th spot out of 18 people through the first time check. Lampic for the time to the first shot. Pretty deliberate, not terribly quick setup for Lampic. 17.5 to the first shot. You want to be under 20 for sure. Nice cadence so far, 2.1, 2.6 seconds between the shots. When you look at that cadence, it shows you just how much you are or aren't thinking about. She had to think a little bit about that last shot, and she got it. But not going to take down the time of the Swede. Remember, the Swede has a miss after the first shooting stage, but Gondler now chasing that time of Halverson.
And the Swedish men really struggled yesterday after, well, a brilliant start to competition on every single relay podium.
Jeanmonnot has one podium in Canmore in the mass start last year, late in the season, the last World Cup stop. So kind of a newly minted first podium for the younger sister of Antonine Guigonat, who's been around for quite some time, Jeanmonnot. But she's trailing by 11.3 seconds, but that's the second best time behind Lampich, comparing Halverson. So she's giving Halverson a little bit of a run for money on the skis, but still 11 seconds is a lot. Taking your time is Jeanmonnot. Barely getting in.
We know she's a very good prone shooter, but she's just snuck that in, but she does go clean with her first shoot.
Yeah, every one of those shots right on the edge at 10 o'clock. She's just inside, and that tells you just how they need to maybe adjust their sights based on the wind. The wind is almost dead on the range. It was blowing around and swirling yesterday for the men. Much calmer today, so maybe Jeanmonnot Guigonat could be her natural point of aim was a little bit off. When all the shots go in one place that's not the center of the target, it's either a miscalculation on the sight adjustment, or maybe there's something just a slight bit off on the way she set up her prone position. She'll have to make that decision herself.
And Dicker with 2 misses, an experienced athlete. Dropping down to 20th.
This is Jean Richard now. Very exciting 22-year-old from France. Came on strong last year, has a personal best of 8th last season, and her time coming into the shooting range, 13.4 seconds slower than Lampich, 13 flat slower than Halverson, the leader after prone.
Now, this is her first race of the season. She wasn't included in either of the relay teams. Really taking her time to get started.
Yeah, nice center hits though. We're seeing people missing a little bit high or hitting just a little bit high. She's on the left side there, almost a miss at 9 o'clock. Just caught the edge of the ring. She's out on the left side as well. So perhaps the wind dying down has them there's zero, just a little off center and to the left towards 9 o'clock.
But she does go clean. We'll keep an eye on where she comes out. 27.7 seconds down, slotting into 10th. Ella Halverson's still setting the pace. And she's through as she comes into shooting 2, just dropping onto shooting as she came out of shooting 2 as we wait for her to come back round. Here's Dorothea Vela. Another miss.
This is not a good start for Dorothea Vera. She's not skiing quite as fast as she needs to be. So at this point, she's just trying to keep it all together and use it for training and get into her top shape. So Sophie Chavot now coming in almost pretty much the quickest besides Lampich is Chavot into shooting number 1. Yeah, she is the 3rd fastest skier in to this point, and Halverson is surprising everybody with the ski speed of lap number 1.
Sophie Chavot, she had the fastest leg 3 time in the relay.
A little bit of prize money home for that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, as the new rules state, she goes 3 for 3. She'll take a little bonus home for that, 4 for 4. And she will go clean.
So the French are probably radioing out when they've seen Jean Richard over to the left side, just letting the athletes know. They might not tell them what to do, but they are probably letting the athletes know that maybe, excuse me, the shots are coming in a little bit to the left and high. And that could be either the wind coming from right to left, but it doesn't look like the wind is blowing at all. So I have to believe that maybe that discrepancy in the zero is just the fact that the wind has maybe died down from the zeroing period.
Yeah, she goes in at 4th. Sophie Chavot. Rapinich. First standing shoot. And a brilliant start to this. Can't quite finish it off. A miss right at the end, her first miss of the day.
And she was giving a pretty good challenge to the 2 leaders. Came in 40 seconds down, would have been probably in the 3rd spot with that clean shooting there.
Well, here we go. Ingrid Landmark Tandervold wearing bib 44, second in the individual, last season. Resounding favourite when the athletes have been interviewed out on the course to take the overall title.
Definitely one of the favorites today. She won the last individual competition of the season last year. It's rare that the individual is run in the final World Cup, but she won in Oslo for the first time in this discipline at the end of the season. Here's Minkkinen now, who we should go back and recap shooting 2. Minkkinen was the leader with one miss by Ella Halvorsen. Halvorsen was just 1.5 seconds back, leaving the shooting range after shooting 2. Then Minkkinen dropped into second, 0.8 of a second back at the halfway mark around that loop. And Halvorsen has resupplanted at the front of the field ahead of Minkkinen by 13 seconds coming into shooting number 3. So Minkkinen is getting out-skied by the Swede, but still is one shot ahead and currently leads. And she's still perfect.
She'll stay one shot ahead. Just one more visit to the range to go for Suvi Minkkinen.
Elvira Uberg heads out on course. She's seen a breakout on the start, but we should be seeing Ella Halvorsen in the shooting range for shooting number 3 momentarily, if she's not already there.
Yep, she's definitely come into shooting. Here we go. And she goes clean.
She's rolling. She's having an absolutely spectacular day, the young Swede. And it's actually, this is a great place for her to start, Ellen. Sometimes in these individual competitions, you just don't want to know what's going on. And for her age, being as young as she is and as inexperienced as she is, just 4 starts on the World Cup, this could be a podium performance if she just isn't told anything. Coaching staff might want to decide, how much they want to let her in on what's going on up there.
Yep, she finds herself 22.7 seconds in the lead. Suvi Minkkinen is the athlete who is behind. And they're making their way out of shooting 3. 3 athletes through shooting 3.
Every major international star in a sport has that breakout performance. We might be witnessing that with Ella Halvorsen today. We saw the breakout already. She's got a victory already. In 3 starts, she's got a win on the World Cup. But she did have Sebastian Samuelsson, and a lot of people would point to Samuelsson as the guy who brought that home. But really, Ella Halvorsen is proving that it was no flash in the pan right now.
No, she put a huge amount of work into to at least match the performance. And well, we did have a chat on Sunday about whether it was a surprise not to see her in that Swedish team in the women's relay. But it seems like the option to leave her out of that is paying off.
Absolutely. And I think what the biggest impression I'm getting watching this first shooting stage, Ellen, is every skier comes in and the time back on the ski time of the first loop, everybody's double digits back. 2 athletes have come in not double digits back, and that was Lampic, who had 2 misses, and Chavot. Everybody else is over 10 seconds back of the young Swede so far. And double digits back for Marketa Davidova. This is the real thing we're seeing here.
Well, Davidova, another of the athletes who really performed well on their relay leg. And for her first shoot, bib 38, quickest leg time of 2 in the relay. 27-year-old is very fast indeed. 16 seconds to get her first shot away.
World champion in this event, but there's a miss. Can't really afford a miss with the ski speed she's been showing recently to expect a win unless other people miss as well. But so a little bit of a disadvantage now. Came in almost 13 seconds back, and now the former world champion in this event, chasing still the Swede, who also has a miss later in the race. There you see Ella Halvorsen on the right. Look at the difference in her glide, her kicks. She is skiing like an absolute top of the world skier right now. She is. This is the real thing we're seeing here.
It is indeed, because her lead is growing. She's up to 26 seconds the advantage. She's added 4 seconds since leaving shooting 3. Well, here's someone to keep an eye on. Haki Gross.
But look at the time back, that graphic on the bottom of your screen. She is -10 at 1.3, and then she slowed down. She's 20 seconds back of Halvorsen. This is crazy.
She won the short individual in Antholz last season, her first individual win and a first win for the Swiss team in over 10 years. That's her first shoot.
Haki Gross is one that sort of builds into the performance, though. She has to feel the momentum of her shooting, and that carries her. She's clean. She has a victory in this. She has one victory, World Cup victory in her repertoire, in her sock drawer, and this is the discipline she wanted in, individual. So Lena Hackey, even though she's trailing now, still an opportunity. She tends to build into the race.
Yep, in at 6th, 21.8 seconds down on Ella Halvorsen. There's Anna Magnusson now, 29-year-old, comes into the range.
12.8 seconds back to her teammate. Still double digits. I still only 3 people within 10 seconds of Ella Halvorsen to this point. It's uncanny. And we're already into the 40s, the big 40s, and the red group. This is the top group of athletes, top 15 from last season, and there's still double-digit gaps to the youngster. And there's a miss for Magnusson now, too. Oh, that's going to dash her hopes for a podium finish today.
Not the start she would have wanted by any means, Anna Magnusson.
Now Tennervold, can she get the time down? She's down. She's at least 6.7 seconds back, not that far back. So Tennervold comes into shooting number 1 in third behind Lampic and Halvorsen. Remember, Lampic 2 misses. Halvorsen goes clean. Halvorsen is through 3 stages with 1 miss out of 15 shots and leading after 3 shooting stages. Now Tennervold chasing the young Swede. And for the first time, shot the time of the first shot, want to be under 20 seconds. So usually 15 to 18 seconds, that's a good start. Very deliberate, 3-second cadence. Not taking any chances. This is a good individual way to shoot, just not taking any risk, but not taking too long. Nice deliberate shooting stage, going to lose a little time on the range. She's probably dropped some of that 6.7 seconds just on the shooting, on the fact that she had a 3-second cadence, losing about a second or two every shot. That adds up.
Let's see where she comes out. 17 seconds down, she's into 4th. Ella Halvorsen still setting the standard. Elvela Åberg.
She's fast though. Look at her time. Finally the Swede gets supplanted by somebody. 11 seconds in the lead over the flying teammate of hers out front in bib number 4, nearly coming over halfway through the race. But Elvira Åberg has Sweden. It's likely going to be Sweden 1-2 at the end of this shooting stage.
Well, we see where she comes out. It looks like, yeah, it will be the lead, no doubt about that. 7.9 the advantage Åberg has over her compatriot.
Still, 7.9 seconds to Elvira Åberg. She has a huge resume. Ella Halvorsen is in her 4th World Cup start. It's an amazing thing we're witnessing right now. Doesn't happen often.
As we see Jeanmonnot burst out onto the course, fastest leg 1 time in the relay. Proven she's in good form already in terms of ski speed this season. And well, we're all delighted to see Julia Simon on the skis today. She limped over the line, suffering with cramp just as she came to the top of the wall in the relay. Had a MRI, but that's all come back clear, and she is fit to go today, as we see Halvorsen in the top corner of the screen.
Not getting her graphic though. The graphic is the most important part of the story.
A miss for Simon though in the first shoot, as we'll bring you as soon as we can. Ella Halvorsen's. There we go. Yep.
Clean again. Unbelievable what we're seeing here.
Just 1 miss.
37 seconds up on Minkkinen.
Well, it's a minute 25 the lead now.
Minkkinen dropped her first of the 20 shots in that stage. That's why the gap grew. And Ella Halvorsen now is racing against ghosts into the night sky in Kontiolahti. She's only got herself and the course to deal with because everything else is everybody chasing her.
Well, here's one of the most consistent performers in this event, Hanna Åberg. 2018 gold medalist at the Olympics in the individual competition. Of course, we've just seen her sister already out on the course and leading the way through the first shooting. And Hanna down already.
After the relay, talked a little bit about how she was feeling a little ill, was dealing with sickness, and I think that heaviness of the sickness is still affecting her. She's 25 seconds back just coming into the shooting range. and that is not the form that we've seen of Hannah Oberg at her best, but still, she is such a good biathlete. She's still going to figure into the top 3, even though she may not be her best form ski-wise.
Yep, she does go third, 21 seconds down on her sister. Rachel Boucher, see her come into picture for the first time today. Her first shoot.
Really surprising time. I thought Bryce Boucher would be the one French athlete who could probably contend with the two Swedes, both Halvorsen and Elvira Oberg. But she's 12.9 seconds coming in to shoot. Very fast to the first shot, 16.6 seconds, so sets up quickly. She's got 2 victories in this discipline,
Oh,
but there's
the
a miss.
And another one.
And she looks disgusted with that shooting performance.
Yep, disappointment. You could see on the graphic there something that the Swedish team will be much more happier about today, in that it is 3 Swedes in shooting 1 who lead the way.
Well, we're running out of serious contenders to contend with the two Swedes, the surprise Ella Halvorsen and the not so surprising Elvira Oberg. Elvira Oberg has never won an individual competition. Unlike her sister, who was a master at it with 4 victories, including an Olympic championship. Elvira is looking for her first win in this competition. She's looking good so far. And the young Halvorsen just out on the last loop now, trying to take it home.
Well, Franziska Preuss, who was the athlete who was just beaten by a 1/10 of a second this time last year in Ostersund in the individual event, she goes clean with her first shoot. Breaks position quickly as well.
Good time here, and very fast range time is going to make her a little bit more competitive than her ski time around that first lap. And she's in the podium position right now.
Yep, she goes into third, 9.1 seconds behind.
Would love to see Preuss, who has had so much health issues over the course of her career, but so talented. Would love to see a great one from her to kick off this season.
Here, one of our first shots of the wall, as we keep an eye out for Elvira Oberg, who's wearing 46 on the left of your screen. She was leading the way through this checkpoint, and she will be leading again, and that advantage will have grown. 15.4 now, faster than Ella Halvorsen through this point. Norton of Norway, and for her first shoot.
But look, as she lays down, hasn't even taken a shot yet, and she's going to go past the time that Halvorsen or that Oberg has set for the first shooting stage.
And a miss as well. 2 misses for Norton. 3.
Oh, that's atomic meltdown, and they're all in the same spot. They're all right at 2 o'clock, which we haven't seen a lot of shots go there. Maybe she adjusted her sights based on the flat conditions on the range and just missed it there.
Yeah, we go into another fallow day tomorrow, and I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about amongst the Norwegian team, and particularly the women, who just haven't had the consistency that they would have want to start the season with. Vanessa Voigt already has a podium from the single mixed relay that we kicked off with here in Kontiolahti on Saturday. And for her first shoot, the German down in the prone position.
I have to point out that the Swedes at 3.8 kilometers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oberg, Halvorsen, Oberg, and Heidenberg now. Anna Karin Heidenberg. The Swedes are flying. I think they must have some spectacular skis as well.
4 out of 4 for Voigt.
Trying to get her name into the leaderboard. She's already 12 seconds past the time check. And the Swedes are, like the French earlier yesterday in the men's competition, are on fire.
It won't be long now until we see Ella Halvorsen come into the finishing straight. She's gone through 11.9 kilometres, 34 minutes 30.
There's Elvira Oberg on shooting point number 2, leading by 58 seconds coming in. Remember, because her teammate had a miss, but now she's got a miss. That's going to tighten it up now. Well, they both have a miss. Actually, Halvorsen had a miss in the second stage as well, so they're even after 2 shooting stages on the shooting range.
Jeanmonnot. 4 out of 4. And clean on her first shoot.
But here's what's weird about this picture, Ellen. When you look at the time of Jeanmonnot, she's clean. She's she's second in the overall World Cup standings, but she's already 15 seconds back, getting up and getting going after one shooting stage, and she's clean. What do they have to do to get competitive with the Swedes? Got to be disheartening.
Yep, in 5th, 23.1 seconds down. Well, here is Ella Halvarsson. What a day it has been for the young Swede, forcing herself over the line there. Well, there's a glimmer of a smile. Once again, she's performed so well. Suvi Minkkinen, who is wearing bib number 1, had been passed by Halvarsson, which just shows the real strength of that performance for Ella Halvarsson. Just one miss, 19 out of 20. She's down on her haunches, and you can't blame her.
Well, Halvarsson knows that she got Minkkinen by over 2 minutes ski time. She started 2 minutes back in the start order, so she knows she's got that plus the better shooting. So she is well in control. Now she can just sit back and watch everybody try to catch her time, and it's going to be tough.
That's a huge miss for Julia Simon. It's gone way straight.
She's not in this. Look at the time. She comes in 1:15 back and now has 3 misses already after 2 shooting stages. We will not see Julia Simon anywhere near the podium today.
She had to fight really hard to get herself onto the podium in Antholz in the short individual last season. It was a brilliant final leg ski time, but the shooting side of things not going her way today.
Well, Ellen, we missed it on the pictures as we go back out and watch Francisco Price on the wall, but Ingrid Landmark-Tannervold took the lead after shooting number 2, and then Elvira Oberg supplanted her by 7 seconds. And now Heidenberg, Anna Karin Heidenberg is the new leader after 2 shooting stages, 3.7 seconds ahead of her teammate Elvira Oberg, and Halvarsson has dropped to 5th after shooting 2. Here's Price.
Hannah Oberg, second shooting, coming in 5.1 down.
Managing the ski stress well. There's a miss. Got a little too quick. Her cadence kind of increased, and there's 2 misses. Really can't afford that.
A disappointment for Hannah Oberg.
Yeah, she just didn't look like she kept her concentration all the way through, and she saw a lapse of concentration on the 3rd shot, and then kind of went autopilot, hit the 4th, and then just kind of seemed like she let that 5th one go, and you can't afford to lose that concentration and focus if you want to win at this level.
Back with Rachel Boucher. Already 2 misses on her first visit.
Currently sitting in 38th place coming into this shooting stage. And that's not going to help. One more miss for Price Boucher. The French woman just not having a good start to this 2024-25 campaign.
So it is Heidenberg who leads now out of shooting 2. 3.7 second advantage on Elvira Oberg.
Heidenberg just in her 5th World Cup start. Boy, 2 athletes start in their first 5 World Cup starts are amongst the leaders for this Swedish team, and the Swedish team is already one of the hardest to make. You wonder how you crack into that team that even comes to these World Cups, and these youngsters are coming in and beating the biggest names in the sport.
Yeah, it's a team that's been hit by injuries, but they've called on their youngsters, and their youngsters are more than delivering. Back with Franziska Preuss.
The first 5. Barely hits on, almost missed there at 2 o'clock. And there's a big miss at 10 o'clock. A full centimeter outside of the target. That's just bad shooting right there. Bad speed on the trigger. You can see the coach shake his head. He knew that there's a lapse of concentration on that 4th shot. Here's Oberg now.
Yep, wearing bib 46. There she is in the center of your screen.
And she's caught Ingrid Landmark-Tannervold. Look at the gap there. That's a minute ski time that Elvira Oberg has made up on Ingrid Landmark-Tannervold, who's right behind her.
Both in sync, driving up the wall.
That doesn't mean Tannervold can't win this event, but Elvira Oberg's going to have to miss at least 1, if not 2 shots, and Tannervold's going to have to stick with her all the way to the finish now. So in an interesting battle between these 2 veteran athletes, that minute does sting a little bit for Tannervold, but you just got to shake that off and realize that this is biathlon. It doesn't matter that you're a minute down. If you shoot better, you can win.
Nutten. Disastrous first visit to the range, missing 3. Can she compose herself for this first standing shoot? Another miss.
Yeah, just not on today. 4 misses out of 10. It's a 60% shooting for Kaltenberg. Or not, excuse me. Here's Jean Richard now. She's clean through the last shooting stage, trying to chase the time of the Swede with 1 miss on her scorecard. She's already past the time, not going to take the lead, but then she drops another 45 seconds. And that just so costly on that 20th shot. The hardest shot in biathlon is clean to 19 and hitting that 20th shot.
Well, it's something the French men have spoken about so much this week after that performance in the relay where they almost went 20 for 20.
This is one athlete who has a victory in an individual in her career, Lisa Theresa Hauser, not skiing at her best, but she is 19 for 20, trying to throw her name in the ring for a possible podium. She's going to have to wait for other people to come because she's not going to take the lead here. But it's going to be solid. Solid performance by the Austrian, trying to breathe some life into her body, and skiing not quite on the mark yet, but still a great start to the season for Lisa Theresa Hauser. Here's Elvira Oberg, the leader. 1 miss on the day so far. Actually, she's trailing. She's trailing her teammate, Heidenberg.
And there's a second miss of the day.
Oh. Giving the youngsters a glimmer of hope. She's going to fall outside the time of Halverson. So now Halverson and Heidenberg, 2 names I've never called until this week. In fact, I hadn't called Heidenberg's name till about 10 minutes ago. And they're going to be atop the leaderboard with that miss from Oberg. Heidenberg making her way around the 3rd loop into shooting stage number 3. She's falling behind Oberg on that lap by 16 seconds, but Oberg has that 45-second miss. Here is Anna Karin Heidenberg.
Yeah, you can see her tucked in there in bib 47. Well, last season, just a 67% standing accuracy. It's a 15th place finish in the sprinting, Cam Moore, and finishing 25th in the individual in Oslo.
She doesn't have a win on the IBU Cup that I can see. She has a 2nd place from Kontiolahti, this venue last year. And then, sorry, that was a mixed relay in the IBU Cup. So she's batting way above her. She's boxing way above her weight range, to use a boxing analogy right now, as Heidenberg. And again, just like I said, it's like ski jumping. You just don't want to think too much. Just let it happen. The coaches don't, unless the coaches tell them, the better it is for these athletes. Just get in their rhythm and do what they know how to do. Heidenberg looking like a machine right now.
3 out of 3 for the 24-year-old.
It's not
Can't
quick.
make it 4.
Oh. Still in the picture though. 26 seconds back at this point, but if you're a Swedish coach right now, you knew this was coming, or you're absolutely surprised like we are. My hunch it's the former.
And you have to remember as well that you can't see it on this point because we're obviously looking at shooting 1 now, but Ella Halverson did finish with 1 miss as well. So Heidenberg now level with her teammate in terms of misses. This is Julia Kink.
You know, the real picture, even though Elvira Oberg, as we watch Kink shoot, even though Elvira Oberg has caught Tendervold by a minute, it's a 45-second miss, and Oberg has 2 misses. Tendervold has 0 so far through 3 shooting stages. So it really could come down to a battle between Halverson, who's in the finish line at the clubhouse, Ingrid Landmark Tendervold staying clean and staying with Elvira Oberg on the skis. It's quite a story to tell.
Yeah, we had a brilliant finish in our IBU World Cup season opener this time last year in Östersund. And Elvira Oberg, 10.4 seconds down on her teammate Ella Halverson.
But where is Tendervold? Is she in that picture? I didn't catch that.
We'll keep an eye out as Hannah Oberg into the range for a 3rd time. Final prone shoot. And a first miss in this third visit. So it's 3 misses now. Recovers well.
And Oberg stares at the targets, a little bit chagrined. But looking back now, Ingrid Landmark-Tennevold has indeed dropped time on Elvira Oberg. She's lost the train, so she's unhooked from her ride to the finish line. She has to keep it clean. She knows what to do, but she's dropped now to third. Despite 2 misses for Oberg and Tennevold clean, she's trailing by just 2.5 seconds.
And it's 2 misses as well there for Bréchard-Boucher. That's 5 misses overall now.
It's hard to watch. We've just seen Bréchard-Boucher do this before, just having a splatfest, as we call it, where you hear the misses on the target. She can be brilliant, but she can also be this dull. And this is one of the dull days for her. She's going to want to put this one out of her mind as she goes for she mis-ejected around and had to go for a manually loaded one to finish up the 5 shots, and she is just not thrilled with what she's experiencing in Kontiolahti.
One more visit to the range to go as well, but already dropping 5. Back with Franziska Preuss.
So most of the field now to the second half of the race as they come in to shoot the third shooting station prone. And it's still Ella Halverson leading, but Tennevold and Oberg just behind her.
4 out of 4, 5 for 5. Franziska Preuss clean in her second prone shoot. Just 1 miss in standing in the second visit.
Going to stay focused on that 9.4 kilometer mark.
And Preuss into third, 7.3 seconds down. She's still there and thereabouts in terms of podium placing. There the standings is the athletes come out of shooting 3.
After 3 shooting stages going into the 4th stage now on the 4th loop. Elvira Oberg has come through the 9.4 kilometer mark. We'll see. I don't think they're going to go there with the cameras, but she is 12.8 seconds down now to Ella Halverson, despite the 2 misses. Halverson with 1, Oberg with 2, and Tennevold clean has yet to come through that 9.4 kilometer mark. So losing time on the skis is the Norwegian.
This is Risha who's coming towards the line, and she will go in at third for now. 1 miss, 1 minute 44.6 down on Ella Halverson, who finished, well, what seems like quite some time ago now. Lisa Theresa Halser of Austria. Not a bad week in terms of ski time performances for her. And she will now go in at second.
And Ellen going back to the 9.4 kilometer mark now. Tennevold is absolutely losing time on the skis to both Ella Halverson and Oberg. She's clean on the range, and this is the conundrum of the individual. You might be struggling from the prone position, but she's only 36 seconds back. If she can keep that to 45 seconds back or less and stay clean, she still has a chance to win, but she's got a shooting stage and another 2.5 kilometer loop after that. It doesn't look good for the Norwegian at this point, just taking stock of where she is and how the statistics are showing.
Elvira Oberg coming into the range for the final time. She's the best under 25 athlete last season. That blue bib has now changed to an under 23 competition. And of course not seeing a yellow bib as the winner of this last season, and of course the overall point score as well, Lisa Vitozzi.
Oberg trailing by 9.3 seconds coming in. She has to hit every shot if she wants to win, and she still has to take some time out of her young teammate in the last 2.5 down loop, but every shot must go down.
It all counts now, and there's the miss. The door is swung wide open. 3 misses from Elvira Oberg.
And now it's down to the young Halverson at the top of the leaderboard after shooting 4, and Ingrid Landmark-Tennevold. And can lose Jeanmonnot now, throw her name into the hat. She's coming, she's chipping away at the lead. Clean shooting so far. Right down the center. Look at the focus in her eyes. Great focus from Jeanmonnot. Laser focus. Nothing was going to break that focus on Jeanmonnot. This is what makes her so good in tight situations, it's not a sure thing, but she's looking like she's going to take the lead over Halvorsen. Remember, Halvorsen has a penalty at this point, so Halvorsen's still skiing faster than Jeanmonnot, and that matters over the time because it projects out how fast Jeanmonnot can ski from here to the finish.
Oh, Jeanmonnot into the lead, but she's had to dive out of the way there.
Jeanmonnot dodging all kinds of bullets, so to speak.
Indeed, it was Traudbrecht who took a tumble going around that corner. We saw a couple of the male athletes yesterday in the men's short individual take some slips there, but no one going to the ground in that manner. It's a miss from Tandevold.
First miss of the day for her. Goes 19 for 20, but the ski speed is just not there. A minute 37 back. She's going to be off the leaderboard for sure at this point with that missed shot. And so it comes down to Lisa Theresa Hauser and Elvira Oberg trailing by 49 and 57 seconds respectively. And this young athlete here, Anna-Karin Heidenberg, can she stay in the mix? Final shooting for her.
Yeah, she's dropped down the order.
Second back coming in. She can turn that around and kind of climb up the leaderboard with perfect shooting, but there's the second miss. Not to be for her, but still solid performance, 18 for 20. You know, if she wasn't amongst the leaders earlier, we'd be lauding her for this performance so far, but they've set new standards for us, these new young Swedish athletes that we're calling for the first time on World Cup competition.
We have indeed, as we're back with Ploys, who's making her way up the wall for, well, a penultimate time.
Just going back there, Heidenberg loses shooting range in 7th position. Peter Irwin clean on the day, sitting in 8th for the United States after 4 shooting stages. That's a great performance for the American.
And Ploys now up into 2nd, 9.7 seconds down. One more shoot to go.
There's your leaderboard.
Yep, the updated standings at shooting 3. Jeanmonnot clean so far and leading the way.
So the story becomes a showdown now between the Frenchmen starting from bib number 60, Jeanmonnot, and Ella Halvorsen starting from bib number 4 in us. A very tough place to start to win a Biathlon World Cup at the very front of the field, but the upstart has done just that. And as expected, Jeanmonnot got to find where she is on the time check compared. She had 18 seconds get lead over Halvorsen at the last time check. She's dropped to 16.5, so losing time to Halvorsen on the tracks at every step.
Yeah, but she does still hold the lead. And with, well, we spoke about it earlier, sort of the advantage that starting earlier on in the order might have for a young athlete like Halvorsen. Of course, though, if she can hold on to the win or even the podium, it will affect where she comes into individual races later on in the season because of the new start group rules.
Well, it's a great point, Alan. And the thing about that biathletes are training for, once they get the skills, the skill is a big part of it, the shooting skill, the ski skill. Once you have the skill, really what you're training for is these situations of being able to turn your mind off when things matter. And when you're young and you're starting your 4th World Cup start of your career, and you're having the race of your life, it's good not to have a lot of information and be part of the mix and part of the excitement, because you can't think about it when you're in that situation.
It'll be interesting to see how she adapts later on in the season to be catapulted up that start group order. Here is Ploys once again, 3 for 3. A miss though. So dropping 2 overall as she exits the range for one final time. There'll be one more lap, once more up the wall.
Boy, would she like a podium though with Preuss. Long time coming for her. She needs a good start. She's skiing well enough today. She's out skiing most of the field with those.
Yeah, she's had to end her season short for the last 2 seasons because of illness and having surgery on her sinuses. Great to see her back and in excellent form. Start of this 2024-25 season.
Well, we're watching Elvira Oberg come to the finish. Now she's got to know, they've got to get some information to her that she's 6.1 seconds back of Preuss after shooting 4. So Preuss is in the 3rd spot, Oberg in the 4th. And Preuss skiing the way she's skiing is somebody who could probably hold that margin to the finish. So Elvira Oberg might find herself off the podium with those 3 misses if she doesn't pick it up in these final few hundred meters.
Norton coming into the range for one final time. It was a really poor start to her shooting. She dropped 4. She went clean on her last visit. And she'll try and replicate that again here. Haki Gross over the line, and that will be 12th for now for the Swiss athletes. So unable to replicate that incredible historic finish from Antholz last season. And coming towards the line now, Elvira Öberg pushing all the way. Over the line in second, 44.1 down on her compatriot Halvorsen. Will it be enough to stay on the podium though? As we mentioned, the gap at shooting 4 back to Ploys, only 9 seconds. You can see just how much the Swedes are leaving out there.
Yeah, Hauser was leading Öberg at the last shooting, and Öberg made up a lot of time on Hauser and then put more time on her to move into that second spot. So she may stay on the podium even if Jeanmonnot holds it together, but it would be a third place scenario if Jeanmonnot stays in the lead through the final 2 shooting stages and 3 laps of skiing.
That was Michelin you've just seen on your screen as well, as we're back with compatriot Jeanmonnot, who has shot clean so far. 1 final time into the range. Can she go 20 for 20?
Coming in 13.9 seconds ahead of the leader, Halvorsen. Ella Halvorsen has to be pinching herself. She stood on the top rung of the podium in day number 1 of this season. She's there now. And a clean shooting pole. Sidorovic goes clean and is second place now ahead of Lisa Teresa Hauser. We didn't see her the whole race. Jeanmonnot now ready to shoot. Trying to take the lead and the win. Gotta be clean. Focus is good.
And it's excellent. It's perfect from Jeanmonnot. And there's the luck that the French needed.
Got a lot to watch in this last loop with Jeanmonnot trying to keep the lead over Halvorsen. How much will she have? Inside 30 seconds.
Let's keep an eye on the time. 17.6 the lead for Jeanmonnot.
Oh, it's tight. It's tight skiing. Just looking at the last loop, Jeanmonnot, I'm just trying to figure out, she lost from shooting 3 to shooting 4 to Halvorsen. She lost about 6 seconds. So it's enough. It's enough if things stay the same. But in this mix is an athlete in bib number 57, who we've also not talked much about, a 26-year-old Natalia Sidorovic from Poland. Her personal best finish ever is a 14th in Nowe Mesto in a pursuit. And she is currently in second place as she skis the final lap of this short individual. That'd be
Heidenberg
huge.
Over the line in 6th. Yeah, it would be huge for the pole. She has got a 92% prone from last season, but no individual top 10 finishes. And this could be a spectacular day. We'll keep an eye on her as we're back with Ploys. Her final time up the wall. She's got 2 misses to her name today.
At 11.3, she was a second and a half ahead of Lisa Teresa Hauser. And she's going to need to continue to take time out of her, because if she wants to stay on the podium, she still has to deal with Jeanmonnot and Sidorovic.
In at 3, 57.3 seconds down on the leader. She needs to dig really deep to find enough to stay on that podium.
Well, she's 22 seconds slower than Sidorovic here, who's coming through the time check. Look at the skiing from Sidorovic. She looks very strong. She's not limping at all. And then right behind her is bib 73 from Sweden, who looks quite good. But this is a landmark performance, probably a personal best, if not a first podium for the pole.
Yep, no top 10 finishes in the individual competitions for Sidorovic. 22nd in the short individual in Antholz last season, but this is a huge step up for the 26-year-old.
finished last season in the 50th spot overall in the World Cup standings. Here's Jeanmonnot now for the win. At the last time check, shooting 4, she was leading by 17.6 seconds. What's it now?
19.1, it's up. She's growing her advantage. Spurred on around the final lap. Here is Franziska Preuss. Needs to keep pushing all the way to the line. This could be incredibly tight once again. She's not competing for top spot this time round.
Preuss trying to get on the podium, but it looks like it's going to be just a little too little to do so.
Yep, third for now, with, of course, Jeanmonnot and Sidorovic, who are keeping an eye on as well. Michelon, her first miss of the day. It's 2 misses.
Michelon had a surprise, though, FIS Cross Country World at the Martin for Cod Festival and won the cross country race on roller skis earlier this year in NC. Everybody's kind of wondering, who is this Michelon? She happens to be a biathlete. She bested some of the best cross country skiers in the world in that race on roller skis, but solid start for her in this race.
Yeah, dropping down to 8th. Was as high as 2nd coming into shooting 4. Obviously those 2 45-second penalties, dropping her down the order there. And the intermediate results. Ella Halvorsen, what a day for the young Swede who's backed up everything she did on the first day of competition here at Kontiolahti.
Yeah, it feels like a whole new world with these young athletes, these new athletes, and it's such an exciting development when this happens. It doesn't happen very often. The world level is so hard to puncture, to get it, to break into that top tier of a sport. It's as complicated as biathlon, and Ella Halvorsen just has done that this weekend in Kontiolahti. She's going to remember these last few days for the rest of her life, as will most of us.
And there she is. And look at the number she was wearing on her chest, a huge smile on her face. She was bib number 4. She's had to do it from such a tough position. It's far from over yet. But Ella Halvorsen watching on, or will she be watching on? I'm sure there'll be plenty of nerves. Jeanmonnot up the wall for one final time. She's dropped a bit of time there. Not too peculiar to see athletes drop time coming into and up the wall. 13 seconds down. But still the leader. Final words from the coach.
It should hold at this point. She's got out past the wall. It's all just get finish line now. Here's Regina Ehrman's now clean on the day, trying to move into the top spots. I should point out that at the finish right now, American Dieter Irwin sitting in 8th, Heidenberg 7th, Richard from France in 6th, and Minkinen from Finland holding down the 5th spot on 19 for 20. What a day for her.
And she had to do that with bib number 1 as well. Here's Irmets, a clean shoot coming towards the line, and in at 5, so pushing Suvi Minkinen down into 6th. And you can see just the extent of the effort exploited out there by the athletes. Every single one of them coming over the line, launching themselves down onto their haunches. Sidorovic now, it's a clean shoot, and where will she come in? Gone under the radar, but consistent performances. She's up into 3rd for now.
Pushing Preuss just off the podium by less than 2 seconds. Preuss, one of the unluckiest podium losers in career. She always seems to be 4th or 2nd.
Well, and both of them are going to be pushed down once again here, because here's Jeanmonnot. Led for so much of this race, over the line, 12.3, her advantage now at the top. A brilliant performance from the French woman. Perfect shooting on the day. As we're back with Sara Anderson now.
Let's not, oh, that miss might have, I was going to say let's not call the race complete yet, but now 2 misses for Sara Anderson, kind of coming apart after a kind of a Cinderella dance herself up to the final shooting stage.
Yep, still only 21 years old, and another of the Swedes who these youngsters just really stepping it up. She was first in the part of the team that finished first in the relay, impressed in that race on Sunday.
Sweden's future looking very, very bright today in Kontiolahti in the dark sky, but a bright future for the Swedes.
It was 19 out of 19 in the range for Samuele Komola, the Italian. And in 11th, stands world champion in the relay in the 2023 world champs, as Jeanmonnot is now up to her feet. You can see her pick up her skis. Back to the wall. Julia Kink just going out of shot there. The 20-year-old German. And we're keeping our eyes on the younger athletes as well, was, as we mentioned, the under 25 bib now dropping down to an under 23 competition for the blue bib. Michelon. It's dropping to on her final visit to the range. She's the one we've got eyes on from this pack, who are making their way up the wall. This is her final drive, final push up the wall in an 8th.
Still a solid performance for her at eighth position. There's nothing to hang your head about for any of these young athletes. Some of these athletes, we're going to see a lot of personal bests in the top today at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and particularly from the younger athletes, which, as we were just talking about, is incredibly exciting to see at this point of the season. Bovar, 18 out of 20. There's the first she'll go into for now.
No real threats that I can see at this point coming. Looking at the standings, just Ocean Michelon trying to get into the top 10. This is her finish here. Sitting in 8th at the last time check.
Yeah, another tough day for the Norwegians. Tandrevold over the line in 15th for now. She's the highest finisher of the Norwegians so far. We had a clean sweep of Norwegians on the podium for the men's short individual yesterday. But the women far from consistent this weekend.
And it's not only that she's 15th, she's 15th with only 1 penalty. So it wasn't like a bad shooting.
Michelon of France was holding 8th at the last time check. And up into 7th now. How about this? Ella Halvorsen holding 2nd.
Spectacular.
And only look at the time. She's 12.3 seconds behind Lou Jeanmonnot, who had such a spectacular year last year. We know how quick she can be and how quick she is, as she's proven today. And Ella Halvorsen to be 12.3 seconds behind, well, that is just spectacular.
Well, with a penalty, that means she outskis Jeanmonnot by about 30 seconds. So it's pretty spectacular. I mean, it's not just skiing. There's range time in there. There's a lot of other statistics in there. But still, it gives you an impression that Ella Halvorsen is very much real, because you can't have a performance like this with a miss and be on the podium without some incredibly fast skiing.
I'm sure there'd have been plenty of people who this weekend have heard us say the name Ella Halvorsen over and over again and gone, what are they going on about? Why they're getting so excited about this Swedish youngster after just one single mixed relay? And that's why. That is why.
Well, I was a bit stodgy with you this morning as well. You asked me, is she a realistic threat for today? And I said, absolutely not. I mean, it's individual. It's a single mixed relay is 1 kilometer of skiing divided by lots of shooting. I didn't really believe that her ski form was that level, and it absolutely is. No question about it after today.
Well, Chad, if there's something about me you need to know, it's as a Brit, I love an underdog, and wearing bib number 4, Ella Halvorsen, was certainly that.
Well, I don't think you need a Brit to love an underdog. I'm an underdog lover too. I mean, I spent my whole life rooting for underdogs, so I'm as thrilled to be wrong about Ella Halvorsen as you are to be right.
And here's her teammate, Sarah Anderson, just dropping 2 on that final shoot. and goes in ahead of Heidenberg at one point. Very similar to the Frenchmen yesterday. It was the Swedes who were dominating. And we will certainly have 2 on the podium.
And the French will feel good about Jeanmonnot. The rest of the team had a pretty lackluster performance besides Jean Richard, who is currently sitting in 11th and being threatened by Anderson, Anna, of course, and Lena Meyer of Switzerland also with 74. Those 2 athletes trying to get into the top 15 by the finish. They're still coming towards the finish line. Other than that, these are pretty much the results, besides those 2 finishing. And Ella Halvorsen has to be pinching herself, and Sweden has got a new biathlon star, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. So we have 71 athletes over the line. We were due to have 104 athletes starting, and the athletes who actually got underway were 102. So we are going through the closing stages now, and you can see there the range so much quieter.
Here's Sarah Anderson, one of those athletes trying to get in the top 15 here. She's going past the time of Ermundson 8th. You can see down on the lower right-hand side, the number to the left of the name is the position they're trying to infringe upon. Minkinen in 10th right now. It'd be nice to see Minkinen hold on to the top 10 for Finland. That'd be huge for her.
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly the same, and a reminder, she was wearing bib number 1. So within the top 10, we will have 2 athletes who started within the top 5 if this is how things end.
Minkinen won't get a PB today. She had a personal best of 8th, so 10th is still solid. Not her best. Sarah Anderson will set a PR for sure in 12th spot. Great showing by her. 2 misses on the day. You know, 2 misses out of 20 is nothing to hang your head about, especially under the circumstances when she went 15 for 15 and missed in the last 2. She'll get there again and knock those 2 down at some point in the near future.
Yeah, her best individual finish was in the sprint in Ruhpolding last season. The 16th place finish that day. And a marker of Poland. Pushing through it, top 20. And she will be just outside that. First for pole. Meyer now of Switzerland, almost perfect day on the range, 19 out of 20 and almost losing her foothold there. See Handvold's name flash up there. 17 as things stand.
Slovakian Remenova siellä 69 maalissa ja
28 yet to finish. Over the line, 23rd. Valentina Dimitrova of Bulgaria, 4 misses to a good start to proceedings. The athletes finishing in the bottom half of the table in the bulk parts.
Liettualainen Traumaitta ampuu 0. Klinsyrko Lithuanian Traumaitta from lane 17. Ja tässä sitten maaliin numero 77 molemmat Kristiina Dimitrova siellä 61.
Dimitrova pushing Kakaida, the Norwegian, down a place into 62nd. Lehtinen
Go ahead.
on her final shoot. Some of these athletes in the final 10 bib numbers still coming through in the range for their final time. Obviously, being a Finnish athlete, she has the support of the crowd, but there is a miss there.
She took a long time there on that last shot and had 2 misses. And typical. Your mind starts to wander, your legs start to shake, you're late in the race.
Paikoilta, jos on 3 katkoa, makuupaikat täydellisesti kaikki taalut alas. Ja
seuraava maali tulossa Kanadan Pascal 5. Hänellä tänään 2 oikaisusta tuosta ensimmäistä pystyammunnasta. Ja menee tuonne sijalle.
Bibati Paradis over the line. The Canadian 34th. That's not a bad finish for the Canadian.
Canada tytöt 34th
It's her first individual competition and her 4th World Cup start. Made her debut this year. Just 22 years old. Based in Canmore. This for Mbika. So 22 athletes still out on the course. 80 already finished for today.
Yeah, for a lot of these athletes, they're still trying to get their personal bests and in a World Cup competition and maybe not figuring into the overall standings, but as you see, Christina Overtaller, 78 coming to the finish. It's only her 10th World Cup start, so great experience builder for her, and that's kind of what this last start is really all about. Getting experience and learning how to move up and compete in this
Yeah, just comparing the start list for today in comparison with the men yesterday, and there certainly is a bigger crowd of under 23s coming through, and those making the first 10 World Cup starts.
Another Finn coming to the finish line. Going to get a little bit of a boost as she heads to the finish of the home crowd. Jeanmonnot, 86, 22 years old, and her 19th start in the competition. She's trying to get in the top 50 and Philadelphia Beer. She's going to follow up the time
Yeah, once again, so nice today to see so many of the dedicated fans make their way down to the front of the stand. Plenty of Finnish flags flying high there, as you'd expect on home snow. And a nice sight for Jeanmonnot to see as she comes up to the finish line and across it. A very quiet range indeed for Hämäläinen, wearing bib number 99.
Still a junior competitor, just 18 years of age, so probably looking at a Junior World Championships focus this season, but great to get a World Cup on your home snow in preparation for your Junior World Championships. It's not something that most juniors are going to get a chance to do.
Personal best finish of 75th in an individual competition. That's in Östersund. The 5th World Cup start, and a miss there, but the Finnish fans will have plenty to cheer for, with her still out, just embarking on her final lap.
And then a Chikova now of Romania. 62nd start of her career, 29 years of age. She's personal best of 50. And you're going to be outside of that today.
69 Hämäläinen väliajassa siellä 7.
Not a bad day on the range, just doesn't have the ski speed to back up 19 out of 20.
Hyvällä hiidolla viimeisellä kierroksella muutamia sijoituksia napsimaan. Tässä maaliin Koreana.
Coming across the line. 83rd spot.
Helped by the 8 time penalties today.
And right behind her, the 88, Siva Klemencic of Slovenia. Winding down the order here.
Siva Klemencic, Slovenia.
49th start of the World Cup campaign. Of course, it was the 35th as well. Number 83, Arina Kryukova of Kazakhstan. Just 12 starts to her credit. Still getting her experience level increased. Is Grace Castangue of the United States.
Ja Yhdysvaltain Castangue myös maaliin.
Good number 85.
Tänään sijoitus.
23-year-old just started the sport of biathlon about 4 years ago. Was a collegiate distance runner, finishing her 6th World Cup start today.
He only made a World Cup debut back in 2023.
Fourth today. Judita Traubaita of Lithuania, bib 89.
3 misses in that second prone, and she did take a tumble. That was the athlete who went down as Jeanmonnot had to jump around the outside. But a clean final shoot. And she goes over the line, 77th. It's been a tough day out there.
Down inside our final 10 competitors out on the course. As the Lithuanian athlete comes across the finish. And rev up the home crowd a little bit here as Venla Lehtonen tries to come in the top 50 of the standings today.
And it's a feat she will achieve, 45.
About 9 lower of her best performance of 36th in the World Cup. It's a high water mark so far today in her career. Sandra Bulina of Latvia. Not far away as the crow flies from here in Kontiolahti.
She rounds the corner and into the home straight. We spoke about how hard it is being one of the athletes further up the order. They start and the course obviously so quiet into the range, and it's quiet. It's the other end of the spectrum for those wearing bibs 85 and upwards.
Latvia has a long history in the sport of biathlon. Not a lot of success, but still has, even since the breakup of the Soviet Union, which they competed under the Soviet flag until about 1990, the Latvian team has had a very proud and strong program with quite a few good athletes. If you think of Ilmar Spricis, who had about a 20-year career as a Latvian biathlete, and so Latvia continues to try to field the best teams. Again, these smaller nations get a lot of support from the International Biathlon Union, which I think is really important in keeping the number of nations competing in this sport quite high. You see relay teams, 21, 22 relay teams in the sport. It's a very healthy sign for this sport.
Jembika, 62nd, 16th World Cup start, the 23-year-old.
Seuraavana maaliin Anna-Brita Kaasik Virosta. Sijoitus 75 siihen. Virosen suunnitelman eteen. Siellä sitten myös maaliin Kurinan siellä 92. Puolan Kamila
6 athletes out on the course. Kamila Zuk. at least one miss every visit to the range, Polish athletes.
We've been as we bring these final competitors home, Ellen, I've been kind of picking up my personal best list and calculating that, and I think our big winner today obviously is second place. From a 33rd best finish to second today, as you see Camilla Tsuk come across the line into 82nd position. And some honorable mentions. The Polish athlete, not so drastic of an improvement, from 14th to 4th for Sidorowicz. She's had a nice PR improvement. And Michelin, though, from 28th to 7th today, as we go to Kelsey Dickinson from the United States coming to the finish.
Yeah, Kelsey Dickinson struggling with the last two visits into the range, dropping 2 on each occasion. Yeah, we mentioned it at the time, didn't we? Natalia Sidorowicz, no top 10 individual finishes, but she's done that today. Her first flower ceremony, finishing 4th with a clean shoot. One of only 3 athletes in the top 10 to shoot completely clean today. Regina Ermetz and the eventual winner, Jeanmonnot. The other 2. With a brilliant performance from the Polish athlete. She won bib number 57. It was in the mix.
Dickinson across the line from Metal Valley in Washington State. She's a veteran of the U.S. Biathlon team, and then across the finish line, she ends her day with a 80% shooting day. But looking back, Michelin will also, looks like she'll take the blue bib of the U23. So even though she doesn't have the most drastic uptick in personal best, she will get that blue bib turn.
Hämäläinen cheered all the way to that final straight, bib number 99. And in at 81 for now. 3 athletes. And of course, Goulet. Kochigina, the 2 who are coming into the finish straight now. Fourth for the Latvian and 90th for the Lithuanian. So Yegorova, the 23-year-old wearing bib 100, the last athlete out on the course. It's the 27th World Cup start. Gritting her teeth as she comes around, and she will see the finish line. Two misses from her first 2 visits to the range.
Ja hän menee sitten siellä 87.
seuraava kilpailu.
Vuorossa silloin. Ja sitten lauantaina naisten pikakilpailu ja sunnuntaina vuorostaan nuo yhteislähdöt miesten ja naisten osalta. Ja sen jälkeen maailmankappikaravaani lähtee kohti Itävaltaa ja kohti Leniä. Siellä jatkuu kilpailut seuraavana ja ennen joulutaukoa vielä Ranskassa sitten tuolla Annecyssa kilpailu. Tässä
Kontiolahti, our final athlete over the line here in Kontiolahti for the women's 12.5k short individual. And what a race we had. Jeanmonnot takes the first individual victory of the season, shooting clean. A perfect race from the French woman. Ella Halvarsson, though, well, she had a quicker ski time. What a day for the Swedish youngster who has more than announced herself on the scene at the IBU World Cup over the course of this week so far.
I love the diversity of the leaderboard. 6 different nations represented in the top 8. A bunch of new names that we didn't really expect to see. You know, we had some hints from earlier in the week that Ella Halvarsson, maybe I didn't, as the color expert, didn't really read into them quite enough. And you, as the resident expert, play-by-play, had a good sense to give her a nod, and she absolutely delivered today. And I stand corrected. It's 1 point for you, 0 points for me, Alan, on this handicap of today's final results.
It was a brilliant performance, and as we mentioned, with so many young athletes and particularly the young Swedes really impressing today. It's something that we love to see, these new names burst onto the scene, and we've really seen that for Ella Halvarsson. As we mentioned earlier, just 12.3 seconds behind Jeanmonnot, and that is with 1 penalty, while Jeanmonnot shot clean. So it was just a brilliant performance all round for Ella Halvarsson while wearing bib number 4. Elvira Öberg looking for her first individual win. She's on the podium once again. She dropped 3, but still within a minute of the eventual winner, Jeanmonnot. And Sigolovic as well, as we've mentioned, just off the podium, but a first flower ceremony, shooting clean, the Polish woman today.
No real surprises. You were talking about Elvira Öberg. She had 3 penalties and finishes on the podium. She outskied the field on the total course time. She's 24 seconds clear of Anna Maria Lampic, and then 44 seconds faster than Justine Brassard-Boucher. Ella Halvarsson, not surprisingly, because we saw it happen before our eyes, but Ella Halvarsson, 4th fastest course time on the day for the 25-year-old, making her debut on the podium. Absolutely spectacular shooting, spectacular skiing. I think this day belongs, even though it belongs to Jeanmonnot, in our hearts and minds, I think it has to belong at least somewhat to Ella Halvarsson as well.
Yeah, this is something we will remember for a long time to come, and for the rest of the season, when we see the name Ella Halvarsson pop up on the start list. It's one that we will not look by or look over. And you can see confirmation of Michelin as well, with the under 23 next to her name. She'll end the day in the blue bib, Jeanmonnot in the yellow.
As you look at the 3rd place finisher, just analyzing the performance, this is a performance that bodes well, even though it's not a win today for Elvira Öberg. The ski performance she's showing shows you that if she can actually afford a miss or two in the upcoming sprint and still win with her ski speed. That's a sign that is going to scare the rest of the field, put a little bit of fear into the likes of Ingrid Landmark Vandervold and the other speedsters of her, Julia Simone, because she is on fire. She found her fitness very quickly this season as Elvira Öberg. And this Ella Halvarsson, this 4th fastest ski time, she does the same thing. She puts a shiver through the spine of others trying to ski a very fast sprint in a few days' time, because her ski speed lends herself to that sprint competition that's upcoming in a couple of days. And Jeanmonnot, no surprise here. She goes in with a perfect shooting score. May not have been her finest ski moment, but it was certainly good enough to take the win. But it really came down to holding it together and her focus. And we reminded watching last year just how focused this athlete is on the range. She showed it today, and that's the kind of focus you need to pull off a win in an individual at this level, at the highest World Cup level. She did it perfectly today. Never really a thought of a miss for Jeanmonnot, and then backed it up with a solid ski performance. Well, she actually took some time out of Halverson in that last lap.
It was mesmerising to watch her shoot, particularly in the prone
Congratulations.
position.
You
As
finished
we
the
can hear
last
from her
season
now.
with 6 podiums in a row. Now you added the 7th podium in a row in the new season. How does it feel and how was the win for you today?
Relieving at first because you never know what could have happened during the summer preparation, and so yeah, I was stressed of how could my summer have been, and seeing that it worked well, and I'm on the same base as last year was it's relieving today.
And plus a big bonus, you're going to start the next competition in a yellow bib. That's pretty awesome, huh?
It is my goal for this season to be able to fight for it, and being able to have it since the first race is it's so cool. It's going to be hard work in my head to fight for it, but I'm really happy to have this challenge with me.
I hope it's going to work. Congrats.
Thank you a lot.
Well, incredible feat, isn't it? 7th podium in a row for Jeanmonnot, and she will stand atop it today.
Yeah, she's really found her groove, and a lot of it is her mentality. If you're going to go 7 podiums in a row, you have to have something going right between the ears, and she's done that. She is absolutely risen to the highest level of the sport in the last season was a real breakout season for her, just in terms of success. I think her speed mature, her maturity on the shooting range, and her mental process really came to the forefront, and you saw it here again today in this opening individual. A really big test of the season to come in with an individual event
where you get such a big penalty for the standing and deliver the way that she did today.
Well, it was a brilliant battle for the total score. Crystal Globe last season, and First Blood this season goes the way of Jeanmonnot. Brilliant performance for Ella Halverson. A first individual podium for the young Swede.
Yeah, in terms of biathlon world culture, this is kind of a where were you on the day that Halverson emerged. It reminds me a little bit, it's not the Olympics, but it's a little bit the way that Hanna Öberg in 2018 won the Olympic gold medal. She didn't win today, but it was kind of the same kind of announcement. We'd heard of her, but we didn't really know that much about what she was capable of. Her world's going to change very drastically after today, as she's second atop the leaderboard of the World Cup overall, obviously, with this first competition. Change the way you see yourself in the sport.
Ella Öberg on to the bottom step of the podium to receive her medal. A hard-fought third place finish today. We'll hear the roar for Ella Halverson. An excellent performance, her second podium here in Kontiolahti. Her first ever individual podium. The 25-year-old has well and truly burst onto the scene. And the only athlete ahead of her today, Jeanmonnot. A 7th podium in a row for Jeanmonnot. A perfect shoot. Not quite as quick as Halverson on the skis today, but she'd done enough to take the victory and will wear the yellow bib in the days to come. She receives her gold medal, and the bib will be passed over shortly as well. And there is your podium, the first women's individual event of the new IBU World Cup season. Jeanmonnot victorious here in Kontiolahti. And Chad, of course, we have to give a big mention to that woman there, Sidolovic, taking fourth, and it's been a long time since a Polish athlete was last fourth.
Yeah, 5 seasons have gone by since the pole has finished this high. That was Monika Hojniš-Sarega back in the World Championships in Antolz in 2020. So a big day for the Poles. They're gonna, even though it's not a podium, it's going to be something to celebrate for the Polish team.
Yeah, one of just 3 athletes to shoot clean in the top 10, alongside Jeanmonnot and Regina Ermitz. Francisco Preuss and Lisa Toliza Halser coming in 5th and 6th respectively, receive their prizes as well. And here comes the yellow bib for Jeanmonnot. On goes the bib. Leader after 1 race in the overall total point score. How long can she hold on to it? Well, it's a brilliant battle last season for that overall Crystal Globe. And first blood the way of Jeanmonnot in an excellent day of competition here in Kontiolahti. It's a fallow day tomorrow, and we will be back for the men's sprint on Friday.
Perjantaina jatketaan miesten pikamatkalla, lauantaina naisten pikamatkalla ja sunnuntaina äänestetään vielä, joten kannattaa huomenna sitten vielä ladata akkuja, että jaksaa tuon viikonlopun rytmitykset vetäessä läpi. Kiitoksia kaikille ja jatketaan sitten perjantain tarkeloita tällä stadionilla.
So confirmed there on your screens the intermediate standings in the individual score after just 1 competition. 90 points going the way of Jeanmonnot, who, as you just saw, pulled on the yellow bib. And we will be back here in Kontiolahti on Friday with the men's 10k sprint getting underway at 4:20 Central European time.